What's up, everybody? Good late morning. Quick little video I'm sneaking in here before the stream starts in about an hour. Going live with the Hawks Nest at noon. Talk a little bit about that Niners loss and the upcoming Steelers game. Tune in. We're going to have fun with it, even though we, of course, lost our game. And I think most of us are feeling at least a little bit less optimistic than we were a week ago. Some people a lot, but we're still going to do our show. We're still going to do our thing. Show up, be there. If you can't catch it live, catch it on the VOD. His channel, my channel, either way. All right, so this video, again, this is not something that appeals to everybody. This is something that a relatively small niche of my viewership likes, but I still like to do it. It's the recommended college football watch schedule for this week if your concern is watching prospects. Basically, maybe you don't care about the teams, maybe you don't have a rooting interest, but you want to watch the players that are the most compelling for the upcoming draft. Here's my roadmap through the upcoming week. So week 3, we got 3 games on Friday that are at least worth noticing. Nothing great, although Indiana does play, and Indiana's actually pretty good this year. One thing I will say, Indiana State, not the greatest competition, but it's what we got. Indiana has a good quarterback, Mendoza. They got Sarat at wide receiver. Got a couple guys on defense. 13 points of prospects there. 3:30 p.m. on the Big Ten Network. Check it out. Not much else going on at 3:30 on a Friday. 4:30, an hour later, we've got Colorado taking on Houston. Not great, but Colorado does have DJ McKinney. He's somebody who I think could be a good pro cornerback. So keep an eye on that one. That game's going to be 4:30 ESPN. And at least it's easy to get, right? Everybody gets ESPN, I think. And then 7 o'clock p.m., we have New Mexico playing UCLA. And we're getting very close to kind of a point of no return with Nico Imaliva, who I really like his talent, but he has not played well to start the season. There's a lot of negative vibes around him right now. We need to see him do something. So Big Ten Network at 7 o'clock p.m. I think Nico is worth 3 points of interest, but it's we're running out of time here, man. If he doesn't turn it on, if he doesn't do something, he might not even be the starter much longer in UCLA, much less being somebody that we care about on an NFL level. So get it together, Nico. And that's Friday. It's not a bad Friday. We got some players to watch that I think are legitimately compelling. And that moves us on to Saturday, and it's a pretty good Saturday. Slightly better games than last week, I think. Let's take a look at what we got here. The early games that I recommend checking out, first we got Oregon, and we know that Oregon's got quite a bit going on that team. Oregon, they got Hughes, the running back, although he hasn't really played that much this year. Sadiq, tight end. They got some good guys on the offensive line. I didn't even list their center here. The Ipani guy, but he's somebody who I may be adding to the list going forward. They got Ugalele at edge. They got Thieneman at safety. And they're playing a decent team. Not a great team, but Northwestern's at least going to be more of a challenge than the teams Oregon's played so far. And they also have a couple of good prospects of their own. Saka and Tiernan, both those guys are legitimate pro prospects. So that game's on Fox. 20 points total. Definitely worth checking out. I like the fact that both teams actually are bringing something pretty good to the table here, so it's not going to be completely one-sided. Before we go any further, I want to tell you a little bit about my friends over at Sleeper. If you're not using the Sleeper app for daily fantasy football this year, you are missing out. Let's get some picks in for the week. Take a look over on the left side of your screen. Look at all this great stuff you can do over on Sleeper right now. My picks go as such. I got Jalen Hurts going over 41.5 rushing yards. I don't think Philly really trusts their passing attack right now. I think that Jalen Hurts is going to scramble a lot. I think there are going to be a lot of designed runs for him. I got JSN going over 65.5 receiving yards. Our boy. Who else are we really going to throw to right now? Clearly, we don't trust anybody else that much. And I have Travis Etienne going over 55.5 rushing yards on the Bengals. He's feeling it right now. Remember, the Sleeper app, use the promo code SBN to get a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 25 states. check out the Sleeper app today. 9 a.m. also, Clemson takes on Georgia Tech. And I chose this game over the Alabama game because this is actually expected to be a close game. Clemson is only favored by 2.5 points, which is kind of embarrassing for them, but it's also valid given the way they've started the season. They've got all these great prospects for the upcoming draft. Klubnik, Williams, the linemen they've got on both sides of the ball. Terrell's probably a first rounder, but they have not looked good at all. And Georgia Tech, in Georgia, that's not an easy game anymore. So I think that's more valuable than the Alabama game. We need to figure out if these guys are going to do anything. We need to figure out if these guys are actually going to be the elite team they were supposed to be. And at a certain point, we'll just kind of start paying attention to other people because, like, Klubnik has not looked great so far this season. I don't think their defensive line has looked dominant like it should. So ESPN, 9 a.m., 23 points of value just from Clemson. 12:30, Georgia takes on Tennessee. This is another relatively even match, so that's very compelling. You get to see Georgia against a real opponent that can actually challenge them a little bit. Georgia isn't super stacked this year, but I do like Branch, the receiver. They've got Miller, the nose tackle, or at least he's kind of a nose tackle. C.J. Allen, linebacker, I like him. And Davion Everett, I talked about him a little bit yesterday. He's been good so far this year, and I want to see how that goes. But Tennessee is going to push back, right? Tennessee's got McCoy, although I don't know if McCoy's playing yet. He hasn't played yet this year. But either way, Tennessee's a very good team, and they've also got Josephs, the edge. I talked about him yesterday as well. So this is just a good game regardless. I think it's worth watching even if McCoy doesn't play. ABC 12:30, 16 points of value. And then a little bit later, you've got 1:15 UTEP versus Texas. And this is another game where we need to look at Texas and go like, okay, what are you? Can you guys start playing good if you guys are actually a good team? Like, if you guys are the Longhorns that we were sold in the offseason, it's time to actually start putting belt to butt. And they kind of did last week, but at the same time, they kind of didn't. It wasn't great. Look at what Alabama did. And Alabama's not even great this year. Look at what Oregon did against their weak opponent. So UTEP should not provide real competition. The only thing interesting on UTEP really is Malachi Nelson, the quarterback. And he's not really considered an NFL prospect to the best of my knowledge. But Texas, we all know the guys they have. I don't need to go through the list here. Wake up. SEC Network, 22 points of value there. You could add a couple more if you think Malachi Nelson's a good pro prospect. 4 p.m. moving to the late afternoon. Ohio takes on Ohio State. Not a very competitive game, but I still think this is the best we can do. Ohio State's got some pass catchers and a few guys on defense, including, of course, the great Caleb Downs. I think that's going to be the best we can do. Peacock, 14 points of value. And then at 4:30, Texas A&M takes on Notre Dame. That's going to be a very good game, NBC or Peacock. We've got good players on both sides. A&M is pretty stacked this year. I really like their roster. A lot of guys on that team I like. Notre Dame has Love, maybe the best running back in this class, and a couple of tackles. I know we're not super interested in tackles right now, but they're still good pro prospects. 26 points. And then late, it's not great. Late night college football rarely is for prospects, but Minnesota has a couple guys I like. Darius Taylor and Gausby at safety versus California on ESPN. And then also at 7:30, Texas State plays Arizona State. Arizona State's nice. They got Leavitt, they got Tyson, they got Abney the second. I like those guys. TNT or HBO Max, that's 10 points right there. And that's it for this week. Let me know what you guys think. See you guys later. Go Hawks, streaming in less than an hour.